What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of COVID-19 Circuit Breaker. So, today I'm actually going to talk about phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, migrant workers, and originally I'm supposed to talk about life as a tour guide during the Circuit Breaker. However, I felt that if I do all three topics, it will be too long of a video. So instead, the next video coming up, which is in a few days time, I will talk about the life of a tourist guide here in Singapore. So for today, I'll just be talking about the reopening here in Singapore and about migrant workers here in Singapore. So basically, with this new reopening, as you guys might have known from June 2nd onwards, Singapore will be transitioning out of circuit breaker. It will be under three phases: phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Right? So phase 1 is a safe reopening, phase 2 is a safe transition, and phase 3 is a safe nation. Now, how do we come about this then? These were all came upon from studies they did in Europe. Now, in Europe right now, some of the countries have reopened, and they are going through the different phases of like what we have here in Singapore. Unfortunately, one of the things that happens in Europe right now, or in China even, is that with the opening and loosening of restrictions, there are an increase in the number of cases in the countries. So Singapore, before we open on June the 2nd, the ministers want to put in place some measures to actually help curb the number of rising cases in Singapore or around the world as well. So do take note that from June 2nd, we will be transitioning out. Now, there are certain things that we can and we cannot do. Now, those stuff I don't need to tell you. You can find it online. It's all on the government information, and there are lots of information about it. But do take note though, no bubble tea. Okay, so no bubble tea. You have to wait until at least phase 2 or phase 3. Now, what's the minimum time frame then? For phase 1, the minimum time frame is at least 4 weeks. It could be more depending on how the situation goes in Singapore, whether it's for better or for worse. Secondly, phase 2 will be the safe transition. That would take about a couple of months or a few months before they actually transition to phase 3, which is safe nation. So those are things that we should be prepared for. We will gradually move back to our lives. However, lives will not be the same again because of COVID-19 here in Singapore as well. So those are only possible because of the low amount of community cases here in Singapore. However, we still have quite a number of cases regarding the migrant workers as well. Now, you might have seen on the news recently, there are a lot of stakes going on regarding the migrant workers here in Singapore. And I just want to say that these people here are actually here on a job. Now, yesterday I saw an interview by a local church called Cornerstone Community Church, who did a report on the migrant workers situation and what they have experienced. And these were some of the sentiments of the migrant workers. They felt afraid. They felt that their jobs here in Singapore were in jeopardy, or they felt that they will be sent back to India. And these were all realistic cases here in Singapore for these migrant workers itself. And those are some of the things that really impact them, because they are the people who will be building our nation in terms of MRTs, our roads, and they are the people who are out there working. So do give a kind shout out to our friends at the migrant workers and the people who work for the migrant workers as well, and the frontline workers and the people working to help them as well, because these people are the essential services and they keep our nation moving forward. Now, so those migrant workers that are in Singapore, we all have been trying to reach out to them in terms of food, helpings, and so on. So if you're a Christian or a religious person, you can reach out to your religious organizations. They will actually have their own ways of helping the migrant workers here, like my church did as well. But if you're non-religious, or you would not like to post to a religious organization, I'll link in the description below. There is this movement in Singapore called the Majulah Movement, where it was created by a few group of local Singaporeans to actually help the frontliners and the migrants here in Singapore. So for $10, you can choose to donate food or packs that have sanitary wipes, masks, and so on, to actually help out the migrant workers as well. For our religious friends, be it Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, or vice versa, I would recommend you go reach out to your churches and your religious organizations to actually find a way to help these migrant workers here in Singapore. So these are the people that we want to help here in Singapore through this COVID-19 situation as well. And we should not leave them behind, because our nation matters a lot to them as well. So you might have also seen the news on National Day. So this is National Day, will be from the morning to the night. So please go and enjoy it as well. Lastly, I found out something interesting. Now, recently they implemented this thing called Safe Entry, where you have to scan the QR codes to actually enter buildings or estates here in Singapore, be it the shopping centers, the barbers, and every shop must have a Safe Entry. So for iPhone, you can just open your camera app, scan the QR code, and it will link you to a page. For Android, unfortunately, you need to have a QR code scanner. But here is something interesting. Here is a hack. Recently, I found out that you can actually use it with your SingPass app. So for those of you who download your SingPass app, when you open the app, I will link a picture up above here, you will see this icon called COVID-19 Safe Entry button. So click on it, and it will give you a list of places that is nearby you, where you are, right? And you can click on those stores, and then when you click check-in, you're automatically check-in as well. Like I just went to a supermarket, I didn't need to scan the QR code, I could just check in and click on my supermarket, and I checked in, and I just show them as well. So that is a trick, right? So stay safe, everyone. I hope you guys are gearing up for the new phase reopening, but please stay safe. Do not go out to do not be too happy and rush out of your houses. I know everybody miss the outdoors as well. And likewise, if you see a migrant worker on the street, say hi to them, be kind to them, and help them out if they need to. This is Simon, and peace, and I'll see you guys on the next video regarding life as a tourist guide here in Singapore. Peace.